We have been waiting years for this to happen. This standard looking MacBook Air has something extraordinary inside it. An Apple M1 processor instead of the standard Intel chipsets. And Apple had made some huge claims. But nearly about 7 months after its launch, do those claims really live up? We had a lot of questions when this was launched. Will the battery life be better than the Intel versions? Will apps designed for Intel versions work well on the ARM-based M1 chipset? And will Apple really be able to pull off running iOS and iPad apps on MacBooks? Basically, did Apple really do everything to make this transition as smooth as possible? Or did they just push out a half-baked product way too soon? So, let's look back and find out how good is the M1 MacBook Air and the Pro, as both of those have the same M1 chipset powering them. We'll cover them together. Let me boil it down for you before we begin. They are really incredible laptops, but we can't compare the MacBooks with any other laptops out there. Well, at least in paper. It is the same reason why we can't compare the iPhone with Android phones. iPhones will always lose in paper, and they lose drastically. The iPhone 12 today has 4GB of RAM, while a typical Android phone has anywhere between 8GB to even 16GB of RAM. The iPhone 12 only has 2815 mAh of battery, while any Android phone half its price has easily double of that. But because of all the tight integration and the communication between the phone parts in an iPhone, unlike in any Android phone, the iPhone 12 is one of the most powerful phones you can get today. And that is the reason Apple never really does reveal any of its specs. They depict their numbers in ways that are way too hypothetical. For example, no one really browses the web for 15 hours straight or watches properly decoded video for 18 hours. And for sure, I have issues with the way Apple projects their numbers. But again, not every use case is the same. So there is no perfect way to do it. So how have these numbers, these extremely vague numbers, translate into real life use? Let's find out. On the outside, the new MacBook Air is nearly identical to the Intel-based one Apple had released earlier last year. It has the same well-loved wedge-shaped design, the 25x60 into 1600 screen that maxes out at about 400 nits of brightness, Touch ID fingerprint login, some reasonably good speakers, Apple's revised scissor switch keyboard, and that massive trackpad. There is only one exterior difference between the new and the last model. Apple swapped out some of the buttons on the function row for more useful ones. Now you get a button for spotlight search, do not disturb, and dictation. The other differences are all on the inside. There's no fan anymore. And that's the one thing that 95% of the people won't even really care about. But for the video editors out there, for the music makers, and for the heavy gamers, this may just get a little bit toasty. Unfortunately, that similarity extends to the webcam, which is still 720p resolution and still terrible. Apple has tried to borrow some of its real image processing from the iPhone 12s to try to spruce up the image, but it's still very terrible. The MacBook Air performs like a pro-level laptop. It never groans under multiple apps. It handles intensive apps like Photoshop and even video editing apps like Adobe Premiere and Final Cut Pro without any complaint. It even handles extensive browsing and surfing on the web on heavy browsers like Chrome. Even though I figured Apple would handle this Intel to ARM transition better, I didn't expect everything to work as well as it does. I knew that the macOS and Apple's own apps would be fast, many of which have been coded specifically to work with this M1 processor. Which has shocked me is how Well, every app runs. Some background apps are usually built to work with a specific kind of processor. So when they are run on a machine with a different processor, some kind of extra work has to happen under the hood. On the Mac, that work is done by a piece of software called Rosetta 2, which I won't go into much details about, but yeah. If you currently use a MacBook Air, I'm confident this new MacBook will perform better in every way possible. I think it even beats the pants off the Intel-based Ultrabooks running Windows, including its most recent generations of chips. Apple is claiming that this machine can get 18 hours of video playback and 15 hours of wireless web surfing, both of which are very large claims. The company tells me I should expect battery life to be as much as 50% better than the last Air. And the battery inside this computer isn't any bigger than the previous models. All of these improvements come down to the increased efficiency. Yep, they are just claims. The MacBooks don't really deliver exactly on those numbers, but they are dangerously close. If you're trying to choose between the new 13-inch MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air, I think that battery life is going to be the deciding factor for most people. The Pro is constantly getting a couple more hours on a charge. The Pro also has a touch bar and a slightly brighter screen, but the other major difference is that it has a fan that allows it to run heavy workloads for extended periods of time. One benefit of the MacBook using the same processor architecture as the iPhone and the iPad is that now it can run iPhone and iPad apps natively. But it is still a work in progress, so don't really get your hopes up just yet. At the same time that it launched the new MacBook Air with the M1 processor, Apple discontinued the Intel-based version of the Air. That was a very bold move. The Intel-based MacBook Air is Apple's best-selling laptop ever. But it was the right decision. There is not a single reason I can find to want the old Intel version. But for the Pro users, the video editing users, the music making, Logic Cut and the Final Cut users, there are still improvements Apple needs to make to increase the performance on the top end for intense workloads. You can't run an external graphics card, and you are limited to just one external display at a time. And this will bug a lot of people. But this should not really be a deal breaker for anyone as such. But as with every personal computer, there is nothing like this MacBook Air right now. It has amazing battery life, incredible performance for its class, and yes, a good keyboard. Too bad about the webcam though. Overall, it is a computing revolution. As Steve Jobs used to say, the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who really do it. And Apple did it again. Except for the price tag, which will be bugging for most of the users out there, the M1 MacBook Air is amazingly incredible. And there is no reason as such to go for the Pro variant of the MacBook. The MacBook Air does everything that you will need. And if you're that Pro user, the MacBook Pro, the 13-inch variant, won't really do you much good. You will have to go for the iMac or wait for the MacBook Pro 16-inch or the rumored 14-inch, which might have the second generation of the M1 chipset. Hope I was able to be helpful. A sub to the channel would be amazing. Till the next time, peace out.